Hi, I wanted to go over today some of the basics on setting up hosting and transferring files to your hosting and making sure that they work, and show some different ways of doing that on Windows and Mac and things like that. So I'm just going to jump into this. First, we need to set up our hosting, and so we're going to go ahead and we're going to look up Altervista, and specifically you want to go to en.altervista.org. If you go look up Altervista.org, it takes you to an Italian site often. So again, you want to make sure you go to the English version because I think it's an Italian company. And then you want to go ahead and click on Start Now. Now, what you don't want to do is click on just Go On. Okay, this is a kind of a WordPress type of hosting. We don't want to mess with that. We want a plain hosting. So you can see this link underneath here. And this is going to bring us to this registration page for just a plain old hosting. And that's all we need for this class. From there, we want to type out what we want to call our domain name, our URL essentially. And for many of you, it's probably best just put in like your Dixie ID or your student ID or your ID, whatever you're using for your school. I mean, you can use a name if you want. I'm just going to put in my ID, which is D001131, and so it's available. And so my URL moving forward would be http://myid.altervista.org, and that's important because a lot of them are taken any kind of good names or anything like that, and this is fine. So get an ID there that you won't forget. You're going to use it a lot, and you're going to turn in all your homework on that. So I'm going to type out Matthew, although I like to be called Matt, that's fine. Curl, male, I was born in 80, so you guys all know. It's creepy. I'm going to type out my Dixie.edu. I'm not a robot. It's good. I'm going to agree to that. I don't want the newsletter. I don't want marketing sent to me. I mean, if you guys want to get spammed, you're welcome to do that. Let's go ahead and go on. So it sent an email to that. So at this point, you want to go check your email and make sure you get that. And so I'm going to pull that up just so I don't have to pull up my email on this video. And I'm going to activate that email I just got. So I'm just checking on my phone here. Looks like it's creating my account right now and getting my site ready. And looks like it's completing activation. I don't know if you guys can see that. Looks like it just let me through. And now it's asking me what I want to do. So let's go back main page here. And I want to go to file management. Now I don't know if it ever sent me an email or a password here. Let me check that. Oh yeah, it did send me a password. So it's going to send you a password in that email. I didn't see that at first. And so I'm going to type out D00117731 and then the password that it sent me. Let's see. All right, so that's the password that it just sent me. I typed it in. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And you get to here. So from here, we don't want to activate WordPress and we don't want to do any alter pages. Okay, all we really care about is this go to file management. And so we can go to this. And you can see that this is our website here. And I can go pull that up. And look at that, and you can see that this is a page that's coming up, and that's what this page is right here. Okay, I can click on open, and you can see it's the same thing. And again, you can see this index.html because it's called index.html. It is the default file that's being pulled up. So if I take that out, it's going to automatically pull that file. So you always need to make sure there's an index.html on there. Now let's talk about creating our files really quickly here, and then we'll talk about transferring them so we can see them on this. So first thing is we need an editor, and there's lots of editors out there. We can look up free code editor, and there's a lot of them, Visual Studio and Brackets you can see here, and Sublime Text, which is great, and Atom, which is another great one, and you can dig through some of these if you want, and there's a lot of great editors. Notepad++ is awesome for a PC. It's free. Text Wranglers on a Mac, which is fine. JEdit. So ones I might say stick with might be Brackets is a great one if you're Windows or PC. Sublime is a great one, Mac or Windows. Atom's another great one. Any of those are probably fine. Notepad++ is another great one you can use. But if for this one, I'm going to use Brackets. It's one I have installed on my computer, and I would download this and I would install this on my computer. I've got this right now pre-installed. You can see it would come up, and I could go through and I could type out my file. I've got a file that I've built up ahead of time right here, little profile page, and so I type this up, and I want to do a file and a save as. And again, if you remember, it's important to call index.html. So I can go save that now. And I use this editor to do so. So I'm going to go down here, and you can see I can take this file and I can double click on it, and I can open that up and look at that page if I wish, which is great. And again, if you notice, it's saying file : // users, and it's pulling locally. It's not pulling off of my website at this point there. And what I probably want to do is put that into a folder, and this might be like chapter 1 or assignment 1 or something. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to do capital letters because everything's case sensitive, and you kind of forget about that, and it's just good practice to do lowercase. And you don't want to do spaces. So like a chapter, you would never want to do a capital C chapter space 1. No spaces at all, guys, okay, because you can't really translate those very well into a URL. If I put that space, you see how it did that %20. So stay away from all spaces in your folders and your file names, or you're going to get in trouble there. So I'm just going to do a lowercase a1, and I'm going to take this index, I'm going to put it in that folder, and you can see I can open that up now, and I can double click on it. My URL is that /a1/index.html. So again, it's really important to make sure you have a good name and you're using that index.html as your landing page. So every folder needs to have a landing page of some sort. That way it knows what to do. Because if I was to change that file out to something like monkey, whatever, and I took off that index there and I try to look, it wouldn't know what to look for. Now in this case it is pulling up a directory, but most websites don't do that. So I could click on monkey and monkey.html comes up, but it doesn't come up unless it's an index. So make sure that you guys are calling an index your landing page or your home page to that, so it comes up there. Very good. So we have brackets here. Now there's two ways to upload. The first way is kind of a preferred way, and this is through the usage of an FTP client. And so what I did here, before I get ahead, inside of my dashboard, okay, or sorry, inside of my, let's go to our dashboard here. You can see I can go to File Management, and that's where we're going to manage stuff. And inside of here, you can see I have this FTP button here I can click on, and here's going to give me all the information I need to connect over an FTP connection back with the server. So now we need an FTP client, and there's lots of FTP clients out there. And FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Okay, and so I'm going to look for an FTP client, and I'd probably recommend two. There's lots of them out there. If you're on a PC, I do WinSCP. If you're on a Mac, maybe CyberDuck's fine. So I could click on CyberDuck, and I could go in here and I could download this. I think they even have a PC version. Yeah, they have a Windows 10 version. This is fine. And I already have this pre-installed. Let me go open this up really quick. Okay. All right, cancel this really quick. Yeah, so I've got all kinds of updates on here I don't want to go into. So I'm going to go into open connection. So ignore this other one here. I'm going to get out of it really quick. I'm going to go to open connection. We want to make sure it's on FTP. Now in some cases, depending on your server, you might want to use this SFTP, but in Altervista, it is only an FTP connection. Okay, so let's make sure it's on FTP, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab our host name. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put that in the server name right there. And I'm going to have port 21. It looks like our port's the same. And our username, which is my ID. Now that would be whatever you typed in on that other page when you created your URL. And then we need a password. And let me go look up that password really quick. It's kind of a weird password, but you're probably going to want to change your password as soon as you get it, so you remember it, because this password they gave me is a hot mess. Okay, hopefully I got that wrong, right? And then, okay, so I've got a password there, and then we want to use passive mode. I think actually this should be fine right there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit connect, and I'm going to go ahead and continue. And you can see there's that index file that we saw earlier. So if I go back, you can see there's that index file. Now the beauty of this is I can take that whole directory now and just drag and drop that in. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer that entire directory up to my server. And there it is right there. And so if I refresh this now, you can see that there's that A1 directory there as well. So now when I go into my website, d00altervista.org, I could go to the index page that is the Altervista page, which is right there. But more specifically, I'm going to do a /A1 and pull up that page. And so now you can see that we've used this FTP client to transfer that directory and the file that I made inside of it up to my server. So this is direct server, and you can see that underneath, and you can view that. And you know, because it's called index.html, you can see that those files are the same with or without that, because it's looking for that landing page on the server, and that's great. All right, so that's one way of transferring your files. The other is very similar, except for you just use an upload function here. The problem with this is you have to have a browser and be logged in the browser, and sometimes it doesn't allow you to upload very easily, but this isn't too bad. So let's change this into A1 or A2. Let's go to A2, and in here I can just drag that directory in there. Now if you notice, it has this index.html, and so if I send those files, okay, there's a problem, you know, and I can't really upload that directory as easily, and it also limits me to 500 megs. We recommend you use FTP for directories and whatnot. So the problem that we're really having here is that when I drug this, even though it's called A2, and I put this over this, all it did is it opened up that directory, it looked inside, saw this file, and said, I'm gonna use this file. So it's kind of like it dropped that file right there, and when I send those files, it's saving them in my root, or it's trying to save them not inside of the A1 or move the A2 folder in here, but it's trying to override that file. And so it's not really working. And so if I wanted to upload an entire directory, what I'm going to have to do is go back here, and I would have to make a new folder called A2, like so. And then I'm going to have to go into the A2 directory, and then I can upload files. And then from here, I can grab that A2, I can drop it, I can send those files. It worked just fine that time. Let's go back to file management. You can see there's that file, and if I refresh my FTP client, there is that same file there as well, and in A2. So that's kind of one of the reasons why FTP is a little easier to understand, because if you're not watching what you're doing and you're uploading files, it may goof up. Now, one nice thing about this is if I had, let's just go in here and make multiple copies. Okay, so I have all these copies here really quick that I made, and I wanted them to go into a directory. I could upload files that way, and I could take all of these minus the original and put those in there. You know, I could probably just do the original. Let's see if that one overrides, and I'll send that, and so there they go. And then this file got overwritten, so that's good. It does override it. And as we go back here and we refresh, you can see there's all those copies that it put in. It automatically put an underscore because of those spaces. Again, just avoid the spaces the best you can. Now, on a PC, and I pulled up a quick PC here we can use. You know, CyberDuck's a fine one. You might want to use WinSCP in here. This is another great program you can use if you have a PC. And you can install brackets the same way. So I could just grab this portable executable here and just run it without having to install it. But it works the same way. Really, at the end of the day, what you want is, it's an advertisement. These guys are sneaky. Where is the download here? For portable use. Oh, right here, direct download. Okay, so I'll grab that. Oh, it did download. I didn't even see it. Okay, so I'm going to grab that one there. I'm going to unzip it in Windows. You know, I'm just going to right click on this one and go to extract all. Now, one problem that a lot of young students have on Windows is Windows often hides file extensions. And so if I had an editor, now I can use Notepad. Notepad's gross. Notepad++ is awesome. Notepad is just disgusting. But at the end of the day, Notepad will work for what we're trying to do here. And let's say you open up brackets here, and I'll put in that same file that we had. It's underneath that A2 now. Okay, I'm going to come back here, paste that in, go to File, Save As. I'm going to put it on my desktop, and it's trying to save it as a text file. So I'm going to change this over. Well, let's just do it as a text file. Let's say you goof up and you type out index.html, and we hit Save. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And you notice it came up with this Chrome icon, so I could try to open it up inside of Chrome and it would do good. It's got some problems here, and I think it's because it lost the encoding, the character set encoding, but it doesn't show that .html. So what you can do for that is open up your File Explorer. You can go to Organize and down to Folder and Search Options, and then go over to View here. And what you want to look for here is hide extensions of known file types. Turn that off. Okay. In the meantime, I actually like to turn on hidden files and maybe sometimes the full title bar, but it's up to you guys on what you want to do. Hit apply that to all folders in there, and you can see that index.html has come up now, and that's better now. Like if that was a let's say accidentally that was a index.html.txt for text file, I could go through and right click on that and go to rename and take off that .txt file that might be there that would cause a problem. So I'm going to go back and resave this inside a Notepad. And again, you probably want to use something like brackets, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and replace that. It's because of Notepad, it's pulling off this encoded text file. So you don't want to use Notepad, but I was just doing that for speed, just to kind of show WinSCP. We're going to go ahead and run that. I'm going to go pull back up my FTP settings here so you guys can kind of see how how this works inside of Windows. And I'm going to go to my FTP directory, grab the host, copy that. There's the host name. Port, we need to change the protocol to FTP. Okay, no encryption. Username D00116731. And then we've got awesome password here. Let me go look that up. All right, I think that's good. Go ahead and hit login. Okay, and so there's that directory, and now I can go to my desktop, and you can see my index.html, and I can just drag that over there. Now it wants to override it, so let's go in here and make a new folder, and we'll call this one test. And I can open up test, and I can drag and drop that one in, and I hit OK, and you can see there it's moved. So then I can go back to my file manager, and we should see a test there now. Need to go back to the parent. There's test. It's right there. So there's really two ways again that you can upload your files. FTP is a solid way. If you are on campus, specifically in CIT labs for those who are taking classes here on campus, it does block outbound FTP, so you're going to get forced into using this file manager. If you're off campus, this is a really clean way to quickly move your files back and forth from the server without any problems. And you can see on here how much space we have now. A couple things to be aware of when you're logged into your site. Don't activate WordPress or any of these other CMS or content management systems. It might override some of the stuff that you're doing with your plain hosting, and we want to make sure everybody knows how to upload and download and actually work some of the editors and things like that before moving on. It's probably a good idea to go through and change your password. You can probably do that up here in your profile. And this Altervista account isn't the best hosting, but it's free, so you get what you pay for. But for the scope of this class, it's probably fine. So everybody in here should know now how to, whether it be on Windows or on a Mac, how to get an editor, install an editor like Brackets or Atom or Sublime Text, which are all great options, to save your files into folders, put your folders and upload them, read the folders back in using, you can see here we can go back to test, and we got the Windows version there that kind of goofed up because of Notepad, but and we know how to look at them locally. Again, that's a local file where we're testing and looking at it on our own computer. And so pretty simple way to do that. If you have any questions, email me, but that should be the end of the video, and appreciate you watching.